Hey everyone, welcome back to another Bridge the Gap podcast episode. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Scott.
And you guys responded really well to last week's episode, so I think we'll just kind of keep that up of just kind of talking, updating each other on stuff going on, and then if there's a topic we feel like we want to address, we will address it. But yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I looked up some of the topics. I used AI, of course, which is kind of funny being a Gen Z guy or Gen X guy. The malfunction. But a lot of these we've already hit. It's pretty interesting. So it mentioned mental health, which we talked about, communication styles a little bit, technology and social media use a little bit, career and future plans. We've talked a little bit about financial support and independence. I don't know if we talked a lot about that.
We did a little bit though, because the episode where you asked me, how can you continue to support me? And it was talking about.
That was more the Q&A though, but we did hit it. You're right.
Yeah.
We hit it for sure. Social and cultural issues, and then parenting and upbringing philosophy. So a lot of them we've hit, but
a lot of them we hit, and a lot of them we've agreed on, or we do agree on. So I don't think it'd be a very,
for the most part, we agree.
Yeah.
I still think, and you were here last week, obviously, and there were a couple times where you and I were talking, and I was like, ugh, because your generation is definitely more technology, social media.
Yeah.
There's just some aversion to human interaction and communication sometimes.
Yes.
So, and I witnessed it last week. You and I have talked about it dating wise. It's completely changed that. So, I don't know if we agree or disagree on that. You don't know any different. So it's kind of hard to agree or disagree on that one. But
well, it's a little interesting because I feel like I do know more than that or like just that, because you have to think, like, when I was young and forming memories, the first thing we had was the Wii, and that was the first big thing for like a lot of people. And then, there weren't any iPads or anything. Like, it was still just very the big box TV and the 4 big box computers in the classroom that you could barely open Internet Explorer on, or else they'd like crash. And in elementary school, we still had to do like not the overhead projector, like the smart board, which started getting better, but it was such like faulty software at first that a lot of times we reverted to the spotlight on the sheet of glass.
The overhead.
Yes. Yes. That's what we relied on. And the TV getting wheeled into the class. So like
best day
ever, because you're about to watch a Magic School Bus. I know that was my generation, but that's what it meant. It was Bill Nye or the Magic School Bus, and those hilarious. Were the best. So yeah, I feel like my age group of the generation should be a lot better at having in-person conversations, because like we didn't fully rely on it, versus Ryan. By the time he was in his younger years, there were iPads and phones and the smart boards and the laptops in the classroom. So it's like I understand his half of the generation having issues, I guess. But when it comes to a 21-year-old, I'm like, guys, come on.
Yeah. I mean, that's true, because it says Gen Z age range is 13 to 28. So yeah, I guess if you're 28 or in your 20s, you have both memories. Kind of like me in high school and your mom. We started in the 80s when it was every ounce of 80s with big hair and hair metal bands and all that stuff. And then by the time we graduated in the 90s, even though your mom was early 90s and I was later, it was grunge. So it was jeans and flannels and flat hair and the whole thing. So I guess, yes, but I do feel collectively you guys definitely revert to, if I can post it online or if I can communicate it via texting or chat or whatever other ways there are, you guys will revert to that. And
yeah,
we're more of a, hey, just talk. Like, it's just crazy how difficult people make it feel. Now, I'm not going to sit here and stand on a soapbox and say that I always pick up the phone and I'm not a texter, because I certainly am. And even with work, I would much rather email in work than pick up the phone. And I don't know why that is, but maybe as I get older, I just don't want to talk to as many people. I'm running out of my quota for my life. I've talked to a lot of people in my lifetime.
And it's not just our generation who takes stuff to social media.
I know it's not. And speaking of that, so this weekend, speaking of social media and looking at the picture, they're definitely younger than I am. So I'll lead in with that. But so I used chainsaw to cut down a mini magnolia tree in our backyard because it was getting crowded out. And I had your brother and his buddy here helping. And it wasn't the only thing we did. I cut the summer plants back because we've had our first freeze and all that kind of stuff. And the town will pick up all the clippings. You just got to put them in the, lawn bags and all that stuff. So like, I get it all. We do it all. But this time I told them, I said, hey, I'm going to cut the tree up. And I cut it up, I don't know, 7-8 pieces. So you got to figure the tree wasn't more than 10 feet tall. So each section is less than a couple feet. And I said, just throw them in your truck. And we live in a neighborhood that is surrounded by the woods. And we actually have an access walk down to the river, which is also through the woods. And I was like, just take them down there and just throw the branches into the woods.
Mm-hmm.
It's not against HOA rules as far as I know. It's only illegal in our town if you do it on someone else's property, which we're not.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought it was fine. And then they told me that somebody approached them and told them not to do it. And I was like, all right, well, we just won't do it again. And I was like, I wonder if someone's going to post it on the Facebook page, the community Facebook page. And lo and behold, some woman posted about, can you remind your kids and teens that the river access isn't a dumping ground and blah, 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 blah. I would tell you verbatim what it said, but it got taken down. So you know me, and in conjunction with this lead-in, I was like, it was me. I'm not going to hide behind it. It was me. Yeah. I told them to do it. It was one tree. We've never abused any of it. They didn't throw it in the walkway. They didn't create an eyesore. They threw pieces of a tree away in the woods made of trees, right?
Surrounded by other trees.
Surrounded by trees. Like, it's going to biodegrade naturally. There's no trash bags. There's no cans. None of that stuff, right? Like, it's just, hey, here's a little bit of a tree. Throw it in the woods where there's other dead trees dying on the floor, right? And so of course, they responded, of course. And I could tell she's definitely younger than I am. Hiding behind social media, right? So my whole point was, hey, it's not that big a deal. You don't have to call it out on a social media Facebook post that we have to remind our children in this. It's not an abusive thing, etc. So she comes back, not to be argumentative, but here's my perspective, and we've had issues with people doing it from the other neighborhoods and blah, 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 right? So I said, I appreciate that perspective, but according to my son, you guys were alerted. Your husband told my son you were alerted, and it ruins his weekend to have to police this or something like that, right? I'm not getting it exact, but they did, and I put it in quotations. And I put in quotations in the next one because there was more. But I said, according to my son, he was alerted, which, as I understand it, those cameras were put in there to prevent criminal trespassing and vandalism, neither of which apply to this case. And I'm not sure how you're alerted, but if it's by the cameras, then I feel it's an abuse of HOA board power to be using those outside of what we all agreed to use them for, which was, we don't need other people coming in here and throwing parties down by the river, which is what was happening, right?
Right. I remember.
So I said, plus, according to my son and his friend, somebody followed him back up to the house with their phone out. So I'm assuming there's pictures. I'm assuming you guys know where we live. Why don't you just come knock on the door and talk to the adult? Right? Like, so not to be argumentative. So of course I have to be passive aggressive. I said, not to be argumentative, but why don't you just come and talk to me about it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So then the husband chimes in.
Right.
And
Naturally.
he denies everything. No alerts, no following, no phones, blah blah blah. And then he ends it with,
well, and real quick, just for anyone who doesn't know Ryan is not one to lie about something like that.
no.
He may lie about doing his homework. He may lie
Yes.
about eating a banana before practice.
Or
But
throwing it in the bushes.
yeah, but he's not going to lie about being followed or being confronted by somebody. He's not
Right.
that kind of kid. And his friend was there, and his friend's not that kind of kid either.
Right.
So just for anyone who doesn't know, my brother, he may lie about the things that 17-year-olds will lie about. He's not going to lie about something like this. So
no, not
just,
at all.
Just
not at all.
for that, because I know we've talked about, he's a 17-year-old boy. They have tons of stories, but
right.
Ryan's not that kid.
Yeah, and the guy validated it. He was like, just so for what it's worth, the boys were extremely respectful. 10 out of 10. I'd confront them again. And I was like, well, that's
what?
weird. Right? I was like, well, I just told you they were 17. So they're a minor.
Right.
But before I could
that feels like a threat.
A little bit, right? I don't know him. I have no idea who this person is.
Right.
So here's the funny part. So before I could reply back to that, the president of the HOA calls me. Very nice guy. I have nothing against him. And he tells me the story that he was down there and confronted the boys first. And then they picked up their stuff.
The president of the HOA was, or the
HOA.
husband?
The president.
I thought he was at Carowinds, though.
No, when he called me, he was at Carowinds.
Oh, okay.
But he initially was alerted by a former board member that there were boys down there, right? So anyway, the person that posted, he claims he has no idea who they are. So I was like, well, then how are they alerted? He's like, I don't know. I go, okay, somebody's not being truthful here, because if you weren't there at the beginning, but not when they went back down there, because what essentially happened is he told them that to move it further in the woods. And then he left. According to Ryan, he was like, we were putting him on the trail so we could then get out of the truck and go drag him into the woods, which they did, because when they went back there, they put him all the way down by the river. In fact, they even put some in the river and watched it float away, like they were 10-year-old boys. But
it's the little things, okay?
Yeah, but the HOA president doesn't know who these people are. So I'm like, well, how are they alerted? He's like, I don't know. And he said, I had another former HOA member follow them in the neighborhood and alert me. And I was like, okay, so we have two former board members apparently abusing their power, as opposed to just relax, dude. It's a tree.
And following them.
What
gets me too is the part where he's like, it ruins my weekend. Then leave it alone.
Right. And that was the thing. Like, so I was like, and I go, and I don't really understand how he was alerted then. Number one. Number two, why is it taken upon himself to police it if you're here in the neighborhood? And why do they have to make a social media post about it when I've lived in this neighborhood for 10 years, never had an issue. We're good neighbors. We have one of the nicest yards in the neighborhood because I take pride in it tremendously. We decorate.
Which is such a dad thing, by the way.
It is. I know. It's like what is that Allstate commercial or something? Don't turn into your parents.
Yeah. It's like a rite of passage for a man to be proud of his lawn. It really is.
We decorate our house for the holidays really nicely. We get people that compliment us for it. We take a lot of pride in living in this neighborhood, and we do our very best to be good neighbors. We don't speed through the neighborhood, all that kind of stuff. And I put all that in all the subsequent post. And I was talking to John about it too. And I was like, he's like, I know we love your decorations. Your art is great. If it was just me, I probably wouldn't have even bothered with it. I don't know who these people are, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, all right, well, listen, John, I think it's ridiculous that we even have to have this phone conversation. I can understand if it was trash or if we were repeat offenders of something that's considered not cool. Even though I swear it's not in the HOA guidelines that we can't dump a tree in the woods. But so we stopped, right? So then I go on the post and I was like, well, interesting that you say you didn't say any of those things or do any of those things, because they said you said this specifically, and I put it in quotes.
Yeah.
I go, so someone's lying. And I'd like to believe that it would not be the adult that's lying in this situation, but I have two witnesses, and they both are adamant that this is what was said. So just own up to it. I go, and I also don't know how to take the "I'll confront them again" comment, because to use your words, they were very respectful. So why would you have to confront them again?
Right.
And then, boom, the post was taken down. I checked like 5 minutes later. So,
I mean, it makes sense that the post was taken down. But yeah, that comment, would confront them again. Like, if you know someone, you can take it as a joke. Like, if you, like, in the future, if you said that, like, about my kids, right? Like, they were misbehaving and you're like, I'd confront them again. Like, then it's funny. Yeah. When you don't know someone and someone goes, I'll confront your kid again, that's like...
Yeah. And that's exactly
Is that
right,
a threat?
He even said, he goes, I don't know you. And so then you're just an idiot for making a joke about confronting a minor.
Like someone's kid. Like
that you don't know. Like you don't know.
Right.
Me. Like, and I don't know you. Like I want to take it as a lighthearted joke, but you know, people take things as lighthearted jokes and die because it wasn't a lighthearted joke, you know?
Yep.
So
also, you could have been like insane and like figured out where he lived and stuff. Like that's not
Well, yeah, I mean, and I'm not, but it was just such a lame exchange.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, I've lived in neighborhoods without HOAs, and I've lived in them with. And I'm not one of those guys that's like anti-HOA. They do a lot of good, because in the neighborhoods that I've lived in that didn't have one, you know, people don't take care of their properties. They park on their lawns. It just looks bad, you know? And this neighborhood, for the most part, does a really good job. And there's been a couple times where the HOA seems to have overreached a couple times. But for the most part, it was okay. And it just seems so ridiculous. And it goes back to that communication thing. Like, just communicate. Just talk to someone. You could have easily said, because I know they said, well, my dad said to go ahead and throw it down here. Okay, well, let's go talk to your dad.
Yeah.
Right? Like, where do you live?
Because I'd be like, okay,
right. And
I don't want to go talk to dad.
Well, he could have just called, like, they could have just called me.
Yeah.
Said, let me call my dad, and given the guy the phone, right? Like, like, you don't have to post it. Talk like an adult, act like an adult. You want to assume the responsibility of being an adult, but then you're going to hide behind all these posts and comments, and then you're going to lie saying that you weren't alerted. Well, then how the hell did you know he was down there?
Right.
Like, you're a fucking liar. Like, like, why are you lying, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, there's an example of my communication style, which is, I guess, more Gen X-y than your generation's communication style, which is more of a, I'll post it, or I'll
those are
text
millennials,
it, or maybe they are. Probably were, based on how they look, right? But
well, it goes kind of back to like just men versus women too, like the different responses in a way. Like so my roommate is taking like a political theory class, and they got into the like man versus woman natural rights and like political rights. So it's like, and then they just talked about men and women biologically, like how they are. And men are by nature more self-conceited in the way that they want to be honored as something, versus women are more compassionate and want to love something. So like men find validation by being acknowledged that they did something correctly. They like the whole I want to be a hero. You know, like they talk about how guys all the time think of the Roman Empire. Like why? Like why? So it's like men always want to be seen as like the hero, the guy who did it. I got this. Rah, right? They're just very self-conceited. They naturally have an ego. It's why when you guys get rejected by a girl, it's all of a sudden, well, you're not that pretty anyway. It's like, well, I was pretty enough for you to come up to me. So your ego's just hurt. But it goes back to that where this guy wanted to be the hero, be the one in the moment, to be like, I stopped this horrible crime from happening. Everybody tell me what a great job I did, you know? And it's like, dude, it's not that serious.
Okay. Can I respond now?
Yeah.
That's the whole point, right?
No. It was a rhetorical statement.
No, so I agree with a lot of what you said, but I just don't like self-conceited and narcissistic because that's not, I don't think those are the right
I didn't say narcissistic.
You did a little bit.
Men are very self-serving. That's just natural. Like it's been scientifically proven men are more self-serving.
I understand, but those words just come across wrong. I agree. Men
I was just quoting an article. That's
men want to be acknowledged. I agree. I want to be acknowledged. When I'm the breadwinner, when I'm working, and then I'm doing a bunch of stuff above and beyond for the betterment of the house or the kids or the dogs or whatever. Yeah, I want to be acknowledged. Hey, thank you. Right? That's not untrue. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
And women are biologically caregivers. It's just biological. And so
that's why men are, this is not anti-feminism because women can be CEOs as well. That's why men are a lot of the time breadwinners and CEOs and VPs and whatever, because they have that nature to want to be honored, but also take care. Versus women are more doctors or not like nurse. Oh, let me not say that. Women can be doctors, but they're more likely. I know. But when you like,
and there's
if you talk to like an 18-year-old that's about to go to college, the guys are mainly business, finance, economics, right? You talk to girls, it's a lot of nursing, teaching, social work.
Right.
And so that's just biologically women have something in them that's like, I need to take care of people. And men are like, I need to take care of myself so I can take care of other people kind of thing. You know, like.
I agree. I agree. But my argument is I don't do it because I'm narcissistic or self-serving.
Yeah.
Like, that's not why I do it.
No, I know. I wasn't saying you in general. I wasn't saying you.
I'm saying men, the majority of guys that I know don't work hard and don't do all these things for themselves.
Yeah.
Most of my friends, we joke all the time because most of us have been married at least 20 years. And we joke all the time, man, I would give all this away and just live in a 1-bedroom apartment and be freaking happy as hell. Mm-hmm. And because we work so hard to achieve, and then you get there and you're like, huh, okay. And now what? Like, what did I do it for? I did it because I wanted it for my family. I wanted it for my wife. I wanted it for my kids. I wanted it for my parents, my nephew, whatever, right? Like whatever your responsibility umbrella is, that's what you do it for. Mm. But once you get there, you're like, okay, well, I hope everybody appreciates it because I busted my ass for years and years and years. Nothing was handed. There's no privilege here. I worked hard.
Well, and I'm not saying
no, also, I'm not saying, just let me finish. And so when you work that hard and you want to get recognized for it, because 90% of the time it's not for you.
Yeah.
It's for everybody else that you take responsibility for, whether directed to take responsibility or the government tells you you're legally obligated, whatever the case may be, right? So that's what's interesting about that is we do it for the recognition from others, not for the satisfaction of ourselves.
Yeah.
The majority, right?
Right.
And so But women, you're right, 100% wired differently. Majors, it's grotesquely different when you really break down the numbers. It doesn't mean that women can't be CEOs or presidents or vice presidents or whatever. They are.
Because women can do anything.
Well, they are. I mean, I worked for a huge company, and my boss was a female. Her boss was a female. The HR was a female. The HR's boss was a female. Their bosses were female. The only freaking male between me and the second in command, that was it. Everybody else in between there was female.
Yeah.
So, but to your point, you're right. When the majority of the majors, the discrepancy in major selection and what career choices, yeah, absolutely. Because biologically, which, this will piss off all the freaking crazy loopy people that believe that you can just change genders, and you can put this in a clip. I have no problem with it. It's ridiculous.
Well, everything that I'm about to say is backed up by an article, like
and
scientific,
by biology and science, and I don't know, the history of mankind. And
I'm just sharing everything that I'm going to say. I'm just sharing from the article that we all read as roommates last night.
I understand.
So,
but
I totally
you
can finish your tirade.
I don't disagree. I just disagree with how described men and why we do it, as opposed to, I don't think that's true. We don't do it to serve ourselves. We do it, everything I do, and I've told you this, basically since I met your mom, everything I've done was to better our lives collectively. It wasn't for me. And so, yeah, we want to get recognized for it. We make tons of sacrifices. Your mom was in a relationship before me and came with a ton of debt. I helped take care of that, right? So we want that validation.
Yes. So what I'm
hold on. Let me last point. Women want to be validated just as much. They just want to be validated for different reasons, in my opinion. So your article, I think, does a good job of highlighting the differences. Totally agree. But if you asked 100 women why they divorced their husband, I guarantee somewhere in there would be, he didn't recognize me enough, or he didn't appreciate me enough. So I don't think it's isolated just male versus female for that part of it. The other stuff, I totally agree. And that's why when you said self something and
self-conceited, I didn't say narcissistic. You keep putting that in my mouth.
I know, I'm sorry. Self-conceited. That's why I went, what? Because I think that's universal.
I also didn't even get past the prologue of the damn article before you started.
I'm fired up from the Facebook H.O.A. thing.
You're like, I agree with your article. I'm like, you only heard the first 3 sentences, Dad. I haven't even gotten there.
All right. I'm red now of embarrassment that hundreds or thousands of people are going to see. So fair enough. My bad. I jumped in. I'm fired up about that damn HOA. Or they're not even in the HOA.
Well, it was funny because that's why I kept trying to kind of cut in just to start going back to what the article was saying to kind of validate both sides. And then you'd be like, hold on. And I was like, alrighty. Well, so yes, the article and what it meant when it said self-conceited is, yes, men want that validation. They yearn for that validation. Just chemically, men are more likely to fall back into the primal human nature of protect and survive, right? And it's been scientifically proven women at a younger age are more mentally secure and emotionally ahead of the male species, right? We've talked about that. What I think it means when it's men are self-conceited, it's in the way of men just have a natural ego, right? Women are more likely to be overthinkers. They're more likely to be insecure. They're more likely to be emotionally reactive to certain situations, but men are too in a way of their ego, right? Women are insecure in the sense of socially. They want to make sure that everybody's feeling heard and taken care of, and they're feeling okay, and they're feeling okay. And then there's a million thoughts just all the time. And a lot of guys my age, you talk to them, and I was talking to one guy one time. I was like, yeah, my brain just wouldn't shut up last night. I just had a million voices screaming at me. And he goes, what do you mean voices? I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And he was like, I was like, you don't have like a voice talking to you like all the time about like every minuscule thing? And he was like, no. I was like, how silent is a man's brain? Like, this is insane to me. Like, it was like groundbreaking. But, and again, I think in the hero sense, like, that's why I think a lot of like boys as kids want to be like a firefighter or a police officer or go into the army. You know, like there's a lot of guys, if you ask and you're like, if we went to war right now, would you enlist? They're like, yeah, I would, because right. There's like that just primal sense of like protection. I want to be the hero. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the ego of man. On the contrary, women's ego is fueled by being a caregiver, like we talked about. Like, as a woman, all you, I can't say all you because I'll get shot. But just a majority of women grow up dreaming about being a princess and getting swept off their feet and having a family and someone who loves them and cares for them and they have people to care for. That's just innate. Like, that's just the difference. Not saying that men can't want to be a father and a dad above all else. There's a lot of guys out there like that. There's a lot of women out there that don't want a family and want to be the CEO of a company. That's the beauty of this day and age, is we can do both. But there are those innate things about people that we just can't change. It's biologically in our system. That's why men have testosterone and women have estrogen. That's literally what it is. That's why men's skeletons, their hips don't go out because they're not meant to support weight on their hip like women are meant to support weight on their hip. It's just scientifically and biologically the way that it is. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong either way. Another thing the article said is it's a beautiful thing that we have these differences. Because while it is frustrating, like my roommate has a friend and she got a text from a guy, right? Like she totally like, she was chatting with him a little bit just to kind of get him to leave her alone at the bar, right? And they texted and then she basically just said like, yeah, I'm not really like into you like that. His verbatim text back, Dad, ready? I'm a 6'3" white American man. I can get whatever I want. I was like, is that a threat? And it goes back to, hey, my roommate was like, his ego was threatened. So he threw what he had at her, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like, those differences are frustrating when it comes to situations like that. And I'm not saying women don't throw things at men either. You know, like I guarantee you a woman has been just as nasty. You stop. You stop. I did not laugh at you once until you were done.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at that comment.
Oh yeah, women are vain, but men are petty.
Okay.
That's a fair statement. Women are vain, but men are petty. And so those differences can be so frustrating, but there's a reason why biologically and historically it's a nuclear household. You need to be raised by traits like that in order to be a balanced person.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, well, that could kind of seem a little homophobic, right? Because it's like man and man, woman, woman. But I don't think that those are negative households either, if raised correctly. We know plenty of people that are gay and have children and their kids are cool, you know? So it's like,
I think
at what point is it like it's a man woman, it has to like the balance, blah blah blah, but like gay guys are perfectly capable of raising functioning adults. Lesbians are perfectly capable of raising functioning adults. So it's like, what trait, like, then does it kick into like what traits you take more from one parent or the other, or like, well, you know what I'm saying?
Here's what I think. Number one, women are just as nasty as guys are in the dating world. At least they were when I was in the dating world. I can't tell. I got shot down more than I got accepted. And women control, really, I mean, women control the pace of progress when it comes to the dating world. They either say yes or they say no. And unless you're some psycho rapist mental case that deserves to die in prison,
Hmm.
then you respect that, right? So I had a
Or
buddy
you throw the fact that you're a 6'3" wife.
or well, yeah, because how many times has that guy gone up to a girl and maybe he's a very nice guy. I don't know the guy.
I don't
He's
either.
a very nice guy and he just keeps getting shot down. And after a while, yeah, your ego takes a hit beating. I mean, over and over and over. I had a friend named Isaac that we would go to the bar and he was so confident. And I asked him, because I wasn't.
Mm.
And I would ask him, I'm like, how are you so confident? He's like, man, it's just a numbers game. You ask 10 girls, 9 are going to say no, but one will say yes. So you just
Yeah.
got to deal with it. So
So his
women
ego has either been
control,
harmed that much, or
yeah.
on the contrary, he's not used to being told no because he's a 6'3" guy.
Well, how many
So
pretty girls have their egos bashed when they are told no because they've never been told no before either?
yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So
No, I'm
so
just saying,
anyway,
just in the reference of that text message,
the text message is ridiculous. Like,
isn't
what
that
is white?
so dramatic?
What is your color? What does your race have to do with anything?
It
Number
doesn't.
one. What is and okay, you're 6'3", that's great. I mean, okay.
Yeah, that's great.
So
Your height doesn't hide the fact that you might be an like that doesn't.
Yeah, you can be. Yeah, an knows no height. I can promise you that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
assholery knows no limits.
and like, and I know there's been studies that show that most successful people, like CEOs, men, are tall. That's they're over you. Most of it's the majority are over 6 foot, and I'm not.
It's because
So
unfortunately you take taller men more like seriously.
I don't know about that. I just think I think it's a superficial image thing, to be honest with you. And what's funny is Jeff Bezos is 5'7". I'm taller than Jeff Bezos.
I'm as tall as Jeff Bezos.
Yeah. So why throw height into it? Right? Like, it's ridiculous. Messi is like 5'5", one of the best soccer players ever to walk the earth. So there's short people that do a lot of great shit. Like, what does your height have to do with anything in that text? You know what I mean? Like,
ego.
It's just he had his feelings were hurt. And most people, when their feelings are hurt, they lash out. I mean, it's a fight or flight situation.
Survival of the fittest.
And so he chose to fight instead of just flighting, right? And that is what it is. It's stupid. He won't get far with that mentality. But it's not unrecognizable. I've seen women do the same thing. I've literally watched a friend go up to a really, really good-looking woman, and she was like, "Why would I even talk to you?" Oh yeah, women are so mean,
sad.
dude.
See, that's
women
sad.
are mean. Women are mean.
Men are mean too.
Because you guys mostly control the pace of the dating world. You do. I mean, your mom controlled it with me.
I haven't controlled. I have nothing.
Sure.
This is bull. Well, when I was in a relationship, I wore the pants. However, now trying to get I've reached the point where I'm ready for another a relationship. I've been single for a while and I've enjoyed it, but now I'm ready to get back out there, and I'm like, I can't.
Yeah,
I can't control.
You can, you can, because if you go out and the guy says hi to you, you control the pace of the conversation from there. That's the reality. Anyway, the second part of what you were saying, the balance, I totally agree. And this is where people are not going to listen to the whole thing, and we're going to get blasted for it, right? And
I'm sure.
Okay. Blast all you want. I can't deal with ignorance if you can't look through the whole context, right?
Yeah.
But it kind of goes back to what we were talking about a couple weeks ago, where it just seems like we've fallen off a cliff of recognizing that things are different and it's okay. Women don't need to be like a man, right?
Mm-hmm.
And men don't have to be like a woman. And if you grow up in the South, you don't have to talk like someone that grew up in the Midwest, and you don't have to look a certain way. We don't have to label everything, and not everybody is good at everything, right? No matter how hard I try, I will never be good at playing the post position on a basketball court. I'm 5'9". Not going to happen.
I just can't dribble a ball. I really can't.
You know what I mean? You just have to accept what you can and can't do. And so that's where balance in family comes, is because women's balance or female. I mean, you know, you can go to chimps, you can go to lions, you can go to any other animal, and each male and female partner that produce offspring, because that's the only way you can do it, is responsible for something, right? For some reason, humans think that they can blur those lines and everybody can be everything. That's not true. Not everybody can be everything. It's just not true.
And it's okay.
And it's okay. Just accept it.
Like, it's okay.
I can't grow my hair long anymore like I had when I was younger. Why? Because it's thin and it doesn't grow anymore. Like, just accept it. You got to. And you know what?
I think it'd be so cool to be like a physicist, right? Like physics, that can just like look at a huge equation and be like, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. I can barely do my times tables. Okay. So it's okay that I just can't do that.
I'm witness to that. But it's okay to recognize. It's okay to recognize it. So I think the problem when it comes to certain things is we don't want to just accept who we are or what we're capable of.
Yeah.
And so if you are a gay couple that's raising kids, the kids getting one perspective of something. By and large, right? I'm not saying that all gay people are exactly the same. That's not what I'm saying, right? But your mom handles things as a female way differently than I do. Men handle things differently than women do, and vice versa. So you just have to recognize that they need to have something like that in their life to balance it, whether it's an uncle, an aunt, a grandparent,
a sister,
grandfather, a sister, a coach, a peer of yours that you trust with your life, a best friend, something to give them the perspective of difference.
And it's very important to teach the difference of what they see at home and like what is going to be out there, you know, like they have to have that conversation of, you do have two dads or you do have two moms. That doesn't mean that you're like faulty. We're just a little different, and that's okay. But blah, blah, blah. It's just important. Like, we go back to conversations. Have a conversation. It's okay. We're not saying that you guys are bad parents because there's two dads, two moms. You just have to be able to have that perspective of they're going to be growing up in a different environment.
And understand what your limitations are in that world, right? Like, I know my limitations. I have a horrible temper. Horrible. I am.
No.
To quote your grandmother, I was born angry, right? So if I had a partner that was the same as me, whether I was gay as a man and we were both angry gay guys, or my current way that I live my life with a wife who's female, if we were both exactly the same, then we have to identify that as adults and as parents and go, okay, we have to be able to balance this approach with other ways with our kids so that they don't have to be the same. They have their own abilities.
They'd be going to therapy,
right? Like, and that's as good of an example as I can give.
Yeah,
that's to show that you need the balance. Your mom balanced my fiery nature
very well,
whole life,
very well.
And she can get after it, but she recognizes that I can get after it times like 100,
and a lot quicker.
So she doesn't, because she knows I will.
Although, like, seeing her like actually be angry is like when me mom is angry, and you just like don't want to say a word.
No, you don't want to mess with them.
I just remember like one time as a teenager, mom like just hit her breaking point, and she was yelling at you and Ryan downstairs, and I was in my bathroom. I was like, all of a sudden, I am so sick. I can't come downstairs. I was like, I'm not leaving this bathroom at all right now. Like, oh, sorry. I've locked myself in somehow. Ooh, I don't know how to get out.
But I mean, you're right. But that's just like one example. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you, I could think of 1,000. If you were both type B people that just wanted to skirt through life, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. And you have a kid that wants to be the president of the United States, well, then how are you going to nurture that?
Yeah, because that
you're not built that way. So you've got to find a way to provide that. So that's what I mean by, if you're same-sex marriage with kids, great. Just understand that you may have deficiencies by nature.
Yeah.
That you have to provide for the children. Or if you're a male and female, if you can't balance each other out because you're both very similar in some things, you got to find a way, right? That's
why they say opposites attract, because balance is necessary. It's necessary to raise a household. Like type A, type B. You and I are type A people. Ryan and Mom, type B people. But guess what? 2 and 2, we all balance.
Right.
Someone's going to pick up where someone else didn't.
I think what's interesting that you say that, because your mom and your brother have type B tendencies, but then they also show these flashes of type A behaviors.
Yeah, like mom's need to be on time to everything.
They're bound. They kind of wish-wash a little bit, but a good example is Ryan's coach, Henry. Mm-hmm. One of the best human beings I've ever met in my life.
Yeah,
from Uganda, came over here on a soccer scholarship, and has his own club now. Played professional, played for the national team, Ugandan, and obviously he's a true African American, right? Like,
yeah,
we couldn't be any more different. I grew up in San Diego. I'm white as a ghost, But his approach, because of his life experience, is so different than mine. And he provides Ryan some serious balance, especially when Ryan gets frustrated with the game or his teammates or whatever. Where I am like, right? Because I'm old school. Roy Keane was my hero for Manchester United, and he would just blast his teammates. He'd blast anybody. Henry is built completely different, and he helps Ryan, and I recognize that he helps Ryan. So I go, ooh, because I recognize that as a deficiency in me, right?
Well, and I have noticed that you have done very well at that too, where you'll ask Ryan how he feels about the game, and he'll be like, okay, well, what did Henry say? Before you offer your piece, because you know that Ryan doesn't take it the same way that I would have if you were just like, here's what you need to do better. Boom, boom, boom. I take that as, okay, my dad's saying what I'm doing wrong. Let me apply that. Versus Ryan takes that as, oh, my dad's disappointed in me. Mm-hmm. And so I have noticed that you do let Henry's comments sit into Ryan first before you offer your own, because you know that the perspective is just different.
Yeah, it's true. And so for all of the people that are out there that are going to listen to this or watch it, and the clips that are going to say that we said same-sex marriage or whatever, we're not denouncing that. We're not saying it's wrong.
No.
We're just saying that between a man and a woman, there are distinct differences. And in a relationship and in a home with children, those distinct differences tend to work together to give multiple perspectives.
Yes.
If you're not in that home, then it's not as readily easy to come across.
Yes.
And so collectively as a whole, you just have to identify where you're deficient as a person or as a parent or as a partner, and build an environment to where there's other ways to get those deficiencies and be okay with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
and just to tack on top of that, we are definitely not homophobic people, because I really don't want that spun out there, because that's terrible.
Ridiculous if that's what people take out of that.
And that's why I just want to say that I'm not. I believe that love is love. If I don't understand it, I don't understand it, but I believe love is love. If you love somebody, then good for you. I envy you at this point of my life. But I believe love is love. I don't care who you love, what you love. I just wanted to restate that, because like we talked about with race and everything, you could be purple with a unicorn horn and gayer than a maypole. I don't care. Like, just be cool. I don't mind. Like, that's it.
Can I close that thought out by Jim Jeffries, the Australian comedian, in his latest special? He says it's the funniest damn thing, and I haven't validated any of it, but he says he's talking about gay people, and how he, comedians have made this joke before of, I wish I was gay. It seems so much better and blah, blah,
I say
blah.
that
Right.
on a regular basis, actually.
So he, in his latest comedy stand-up, it's great. It's on Netflix radio all the time. He goes, divorce rates for traditional marriage, man and woman, are this rate.
Mm.
He goes, so if you look at the percentage of divorces that happen based on how the marriages are, you've got regular marriage, men and women, you've got gay marriage, men and men, and then lesbian marriage, women to women, right? He says divorce rates for regular marriage are, let's say, 50%. For lesbians, it's like 80%. For gay, it's like 30%. And he goes, you know why? Because in these two, there's a woman involved. In this one, there's no woman involved. Dude, I laughed out loud when I heard that. That is such a funny bit. I don't know if it's true.
Joke.
If it's true, then that says a lot.
I'm about to look it up. That's a lame joke.
It's a great joke.
Lame joke.
Jim Jeffries is hilarious. And I don't agree with him on everything at all. He's very anti-gun, which I'm not. But that part was really funny. He's right, isn't he?
No.
Yes, he is. That's
no,
why
he's
said,
not.
Damn it. That's why he said
no. Let me get there. Divorce rates between straight and gay couples are difficult to compare definitively, but some studies suggest they are similar overall. However, others show higher rates for same-sex couples, particularly lesbian couples.
See, there you go.
Damn it.
I think it's hilarious. See, but listen, but
it's only in comparison to gay male relationships. They haven't done it to the straight couples. It says that straight couples versus gay to any extent are pretty similar. But among the gay community, lesbian couples have a higher divorce rate than gay male couples.
Yeah. Listen, y'all
just can't handle all this. That's all. That's all I'm gonna say. Y'all
I think it's just. I think it's a funny. I think it's a funny anecdote to tie the entire conversation back around at the end. And who knows, man? I just think it's exactly. I just think it was funny, and hopefully, if people watch this whole episode, they'll recognize that we're having fun.
Oh yeah.
We definitely have opinions, but we also look things up and we do read.
That's why I just looked it up. I was like, I want to know.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Whatever. I mean, listen, I'm just going to say at the end of the day, y'all men can't handle all the greatness that women have to offer.
Either that or y'all loopy.
Ego. There's the ego.
I'm an evil man. I'm an evil man. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Well, that's a good way to wrap it up.
That was a good way to wrap it up. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in again. And hopefully we entertained you this week because I think this was a pretty funny episode as far as it goes.
Interesting. It was a good article. It was a good topic.
Yeah. So we've learned that Dad talks too much for his own knowledge. I'm just kidding.
Wow. That's not what I took away. But
I was just referring to the article where I was like,
I know.
Look at him turning red again, guys.
I jumped
Look at him.
But
anyway, thanks you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something maybe. You might want to fact check a few things that we said before saying anything. But we hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah.
And we'll see y'all. You're good. See you next week.
Thanks for tuning in. Look us up, all the socials. They're posted.
Do you
TikTok,
need help getting that out?
Spotify, YouTube.
Okay, we're leaving now. Goodbye, guys.
Okay, bye.